Okay, it says that we are live, Miss Gonzalez.
And give me your phone because clearly mine
It says
doesn't
that
like
we are
mine.
live, Miss
Is
Gonzalez.
this not this turn? No.
It's on Do Not Disturb.
Okay.
Yes. Do you have your microphone? Is it on?
It is on.
Yep, the
Yes.
green light is on. Awesome. So, hello, my friends. We are live yet again. It's clearly Tuesday. It's also Earth Day. Did you know that?
No.
Yes. I remember when we were in elementary school on Earth Day, they would always give us a little pine tree so that we could like sembrarlo outside. I don't think any of my pine trees ever survived, like ever, ever. So yeah, that's where we're at with that.
Sorry.
Okay. So we are live. I thank you all for joining us today. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different show. It's more of a recap of some things that we have recently learned about our communities. So one thing that we know for sure is that at least here in Salem, every time I sat in an SRA meeting or an Affordable Housing Trust meeting or in any of the meetings that had to do with any type of development, one thing that we always heard was, we don't have enough parking. We don't have enough space.
Which is true. We don't have enough parking.
We don't have enough space, right? We need to make sure that that other cities are doing their share, because a lot of Salem residents felt that we were taking on the burden of creating housing for Boston residents. And so we were recently at an event with the North Shore Association of Realtors, and they brought 7 local mayors, to talk about everything that was going on in their cities. So we figured that today would be a really good show, a really good way just to share what we remember from that conversation, which happened last Thursday. Quote unquote, we remember. Okay, remember.
So. Yes, remember. Exactly. That's the key word.
Because, yeah, that was Thursday, and a lot has happened between now and then. So, Miss Gonzalez, okay?
Yes, tell me.
Where do you want to start?
Of course, we need to start in our own city here in Salem.
Salem, Massachusetts.
Yes.
Not that we're not, we're not biased or anything, but he was the best speaker there. He might have had a round of applause, There was a whole table that was like, woo, woo, yeah, Mayor Pangallo. Yeah, we love our Mayor Pangallo.
I do want to say before we start is that we are very grateful for these mayors to come to the event and actually speak to us about housing. It really talks very well about them to take them the time, and not only the time, but also the ability to respond to our questions, the openness to do that.
Yep.
That's very appreciated.
Yeah. They were facing a room full of realtors.
Yes, and that's never easy.
We were not shy about answering questions that were thrown to the public, because that's how we are. That's how realtors operate. We're not shy.
Nope. So, what is one thing that you remember about Mayor Pangallo, which is again the mayor here in Salem?
Yep, who's running for re-election again. I just want to say that also, because all of these mayors are in an election year too. So let's keep that in mind.
However, I do want to say something very important. In here, we are talking about housing. We are talking about the conversation that we had at the event. We are not promoting any political party or anything like that here. Okay, so it's nothing to do with that. We are talking about what is happening in Salem and the cities around here.
So one thing that Mayor Pangallo opened up with was, letting people know that Salem was one of the first cities to approve the ADU ordinance, even before the state passed the ordinance that said that single-family zonings are now, you can have an ADU by right? Clearly, you have to still meet building code and minimum code requirements, etc. But Salem was at the forefront of that, of allowing ADUs. Yeah, like 3 years, 4 years is what we've had them in place for. So that was really good that he opened up with that. I didn't know that we had, through that program, we created 38 ADUs in the city of Salem. It's not a lot, okay?
But it's something.
It's something. And I remember in one of the public hearings that somebody, and I don't know who it was, but somebody was talking about they were expecting like 20 units to be built over a long period of time. So to see 38 units built, kudos.
Yeah.
Kudos. In like 3-4 years, I think that was a really good, bold move that Salem did to kind of be at the forefront of that.
And again, I think it's so beneficial because it first create more housing options.
Mm-hmm.
It also, in the case of family members that have an elderly person, like in my house, for example, we have my grandmother and we are considering like, should we do an ADU for her? Because it's hard for an elderly person to take the stairs. So having an ADU help you to take care of other family members, whether it's an elderly, whether it's your teenager, like whoever that is. So
yeah,
it's great.
Absolutely. I have an ADU and our daughter lives there, and it's phenomenal because she doesn't have to deal with the high cost of rentals right now, So that is an added bonus, a huge added bonus for her. So that's, an ADU, I love an ADU. Another thing that Salem Mayor Pancalo was talking about was hotels.
Yes.
So there's another hotel that's being built here on Salem.
Actually, I think the way that he spoke, it sounds like we'll have more than one hotel.
I know that there's definitely one coming on like Canal Street, or at least there's conversations about one on Canal Street. I think there might be another one maybe on Bridge Street.
There is one, and that one is very advanced on construction already.
Yes. And some people are like, well, we don't need more hotels. However, the mayor brought up a really good point.
Yes.
In that when we don't have lodging for our tourists, that means that they go to another city and they go spend their dollars over there.
Yeah. And not only that, but that also creates jobs for people. Like having a new hotel need a staff, needs the person that do the dishwasher, the person that do the cleaning, the person that do the desk. Like it's more job opportunities for Salem residents.
Yes. More dining dollars also. It also cuts down on traffic congestion because you have people that come and stay and they don't need to be in a car getting through the city to get to their next destination. So I thought that was a really, really good.
And the other good thing is they are not all in one location.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they are in Salem, but they are
throughout the city.
Exactly.
They're not all in downtown. Downtown already we have the Hawthorne Hotel, we have the Waterfront Hotel, and then we have, is it Hampton Inn. The Hampton Inn. So they're all pretty close to each other. And so to add, we have, of course, little like bed and breakfasts throughout the downtown area, like a lot of those, or several of those. And then, so adding one on Canal Street, adding one on Bridge Street, I think will help cut down on traffic. And like you said, we'll bring some added jobs to our community, which we're all happy to add more jobs.
That also, I think, shows that there is a need for that in the area and that we're probably going to continue to have more tourists coming in during the Halloween time. Because if it was not financially beneficial, those hotels were not being created. So that means that we'll have more people coming during Halloween, during summertime, which again, I think is great for small businesses to have that traffic.
Yeah. And I think it, like you're saying, it opens up to other times of the year also, and because they're not all in one predominant location, it allows, if you have, I don't know, something happening at Salem State, for example, some big speaker coming. Well, now you have a hotel, or you potentially could have a hotel closer to the university as opposed to being all the way in downtown.
Which, by the way, I'm happy that you mentioned that because a lot of people sometimes don't even see how often Salem State family members use the hotels in the area, even the same students. Like I remember when I was a student, the majority of international students specifically, they will first move for a few weeks or for a few days in a hotel until it was time for them to move into the dorms, because they have a specific time when people can actually move in. So many times family members, they come and they stay at the local hotels, and we have students for all over the world.
Yeah, we do. We do. It's a great school. It's a great, great, great school. So let's see, talking about Halloween. I know you mentioned Halloween. We mentioned Halloween a couple times. A lot of people think that Halloween is like the thing here in Salem. Like that's the thing that brings all of the money into the city. And it does bring a lot of money into the city. However, our biggest employers have nothing to do with Halloween. Nothing to do with Halloween.
So you meant to be that the city of Salem is a city that is not only alive during Halloween.
Yeah.
We actually have people living in here the entire year around.
We are not a storybook destination. Nope. We are a thriving city all year long. Our biggest employers are education and healthcare.
Yes. And education is Salem State. And healthcare is Salem Hospital.
Salem Hospital, which is humongous. And Salem Hospital, let me say, you brought this up to me the other day. It says, what's the hospital that they have in Lynn? They don't. They had Union Hospital. So now all of that traffic comes into Salem, And so we have a very good and big hospital.
Yeah.
Right? And that employs a lot of people. I remember when I used to work at Salem Hospital, I used to work in the Human Resources Department. It was constant. And it's an international hospital. We would bring in phlebotomists from the Philippines and x-ray techs from overseas. So it is, it's a hub. It definitely is a hub. So it was good to have Mayor Pangalo remind people that Salem is more than Halloween.
Yes.
We are way more than Halloween. And you can see that. I mean, we just had in February, we had the Salem So Sweet, which is the ice sculpture festival. We have, during the summer, we have the regatta where people build their boats out of cardboard and try to get across the river. Like there's a lot that happens. We have the first musker. We have a lot that happens in our city that have a lot more to do, that have nothing to do, I should say, with Halloween. It's a city that's full of rich history, a lot of diverse people, a lot of different jobs, opportunities that we have here. It's the cold is coming back, so I'm going to let you talk.
Yes. And I think it's also a great reminder for the residents that are already here of what they have available, because not all the cities around here, not all the cities nearby, they have a hospital. Not all the cities nearby have a university. Like you should be proud of the services that your city is providing in the community. Like, that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I love my city. I really, really do. I don't see myself living somewhere else. But then again, I think about our winters and I'm like, yeah, I could do without the snow. So
we don't have alligators.
That is true. Thank you, Jesus. We don't have alligators.
Michael said, my favorite part of Tuesday's night routine. We love it, Michael.
Love you, Michael. Thank you. All right. So what else did Mayor Pangalo say? Mayor Pangalo also talked about housing redevelopment near South Campus. At Salem State, which I hadn't been following a lot. But if I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure he mentioned that South Campus redevelopment will be mixed in regards to senior housing and like normal housing. I shouldn't say normal, but like non-senior housing, with some affordable units in there as well. And one thing that Salem people, or a lot of people don't know about Salem, is that we don't have our affordable units capped at 80% area median income anymore. We have them capped at 60% area median income, which is huge. It makes a big, big difference in regards to affordability.
Yes.
Because, what is a 2-bedroom affordable at 80% is not really affordable for a
Yes.
Salem resident. So I love, 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 love that.
That's great that you mentioned that, because people hear affordable housing and they feel, oh, this person is paying $900 for a 4-bedroom. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yes, you have some affordability, it's a little bit under market value, but it's not free housing.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are living in here, they actually need to pay rent.
Yeah.
So, and it's good that the city of Salem, they do 60%, which is not very common, actually. You usually see 80 and 100%.
Yep.
80 and 100%. Like, you hardly ever see 30% of the median income.
Yeah. No, it's really good. And in talking about that, we have the Crescent lot that's also going to be built out. Okay. So Wind Development has that, or at least last time I checked, had that contract when I was at the SRA. So they're going to be building out that Crescent lot, and that's like over 100 rental units, all rental units with some mixed use commercial spaces as well. So yes, Salem does not have a lot of land, that like Amesbury might have, or like Ipswich may have, right? But I think our mayor is, and our city hall staff is being very, I don't want to give them too much credit because then it's going to go to their heads. But I think they're being very, very smart about building what it is that we need, or at least trying to find ways to cater to that. Mayor Bangallo said not everybody needs a 3-bedroom. Not everybody needs a 3-bedroom. You have many senior citizens that are looking to downsize and they need something smaller, but they've got nothing smaller to go to, right? And so
he was very pointed on that, hey, we also need to create housing for our seniors.
Yes.
Because I feel like there are a lot of developers that they are forgetting about the seniors. And it's just like you are saying, every group of people needs something different.
Yes.
So it's great for the people that have, I don't know, 7 people in their family. That's fantastic. But what about the seniors?
Right.
What about the person that they don't want to take 15 stairs to open the door of their house,
And those same seniors are the same seniors that are holding on to the very inventory that we need for the people that are looking for something that needs a little work, that needs a little love, that they can get at a little more affordable price, So Mayor Pangallo hit the nail on the head right there when he said that not everybody needs a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family home. We do need to be building for our seniors. We do need to be cognizant of what it is that people actually need and making sure that we are placing those units where it makes sense. It does not make sense to have senior housing way in the outskirts of the city because they need to be able to get to the hospital, to get to the grocery store, to get to the pharmacy, right? And so our seniors, I don't know if you've met some of our Salem seniors, they're pretty independent.
And I love that.
I love that.
Yeah.
They're spunky and feisty, and they will tell you where to go real quick. And I love that about them. But if you take them completely out to the outskirts of the city, it doesn't make sense. It also doesn't make sense to put them right in the middle of downtown either. So it's great to have strategy. And Mayor Pangallo didn't mention this, but I know this from my own personal experience, is that you're able to come in with your plans and talk to somebody in the planning department or somebody in the building department and have them look over what it is that you're looking to do and answer questions and provide you with guidance. Like I went through that process when I was building my house and I was building my ADU, just to be able to have access to people and ask questions and guidance was critical. I loved it. Okay, so we have that from Salem. Is there anything else that we're missing from Salem, madam?
I don't think so.
Nope. Oh, there. Salem also when we were talking about the commercial aspect of things. Very much committed to the offshore wind project.
Okay.
So that's going to create massive number of jobs over a long period of time. And that's going to set us up for the next generation, which is phenomenal. Again, thinking forward in the next 400 years, not, the most recent 400 years. So that is a very good, and something that will contribute to the environment also, and to our sustainability efforts as well. So kudos to Salem on that,
I love it.
Now,
moving on, let's go to Lynn,
mm-hmm.
to the mayor in Lynn. What is his name again?
Oh, girl, you're going to put me on the spot like that? Jared, is it Jared Nicholson?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that Jared is doing also a fantastic job in the city of Lynn. They share very, very important information that they are doing in the city of Lynn.
Yeah.
One of the things that they mentioned is all the new housing that they have created in the past few years. And that's something that we can clearly see. Even we see how prices are coming up. We see how the city of Lynn has it's just like a revival in the city of Lynn.
Absolutely. So you see that Linway Corridor has a lot of activity. There's a lot of housing happening on that Linway Corridor. They've really done a lot to help clean up the downtown area as well, and revitalize some of those old abandoned buildings as well. Mayor of Lynn talked about that like an advisory redevelopment department. And that department, he created that, or his administration created that, available to the general public to be able to do the very thing we were just talking about that I was able to do here in Salem, which is go and talk to the planning department, go and talk to the building department, show them your plans and collaborate as to what it is that you're looking to do. How can you get it done? Understanding what the current zoning for that particular area is. That I think is clutch. I think it's a huge time saver, right?
Yeah.
And it allows people to have more confidence in their city hall. Like oftentimes people think city hall is out to get you. And some city halls are out to get you, right? But to be able to have this type of communication with your planning department, with your building department, it saves time, it saves money, okay? It makes for a much smoother process, all right? It allows you to make the necessary changes before you come out to the public. Like you do a lot of the legwork ahead of time.
Someone that is not or have never done the process of building something, sometimes they don't know what it actually means, like how much time this actually save you, how much time, how much money this actually save you. When you don't have those resources in place, it can take way longer to do any project. And so the thing is that, let's say that a project that is going to take you 2 years to build, it's now going to take you 3 or 4. So there is a demand for housing, but again, the process makes it even harder for you as a resident to be able to see the results. So by having these resources available, it reduces the time that a developer
look at it this way. Most public boards, let's take the zoning board of approvals, for example, okay? Most ZBAs meet one time per month. So imagine you have this plan and you're presenting it to your ZBA, and then they tell you, well, actually, for this area, we wanted to see X and not Y, or, you really should have thought about Z and not P, for example. Now you have to make those changes and you have to come back for next month's meeting. It's not like you're going to be able to make the changes on the spot and represent.
Or even schedule, I'm coming in 3 days.
Exactly. No, you have to wait another month. Okay. That's another month worth of carrying cost, of interest that you're paying, of taxes, of insurance, of whatever, right? And those are all costs that the developer carries. But all of those costs translate back to the consumer.
Mhm.
Because if the developer is spending a ton of money on holding this building, the developer is going to pull the money somehow. It's like a tariff. It's like it just gets passed down to the consumer. So seeing that Lynn has created this department to be able to help the public produce a more complete project to be able to present to the appropriate board, I think is a major game changer for them, and it should be followed by all of the cities, all the neighboring cities. It should be followed.
I think that's also gonna be a motivation, or is probably already a motivation for some developers to decide, hey, you know what? Instead of building in citywide, let me go
To Lynn.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because the process is much easier.
Exactly. And talking about the process being easier, the city of Lynn, Mayor Nicholson was also talking about some changes to the zoning laws.
Yes,
also,
that is already happening.
So again, all in an effort to create more housing opportunities.
Yes.
Okay. They're also working on using some public lands to incentivize specifically affordable housing. Again, Lynn has a lot more land than Salem has. Okay. We have, like, I think, swamp land that's left. I don't know that's for sure, but there's not very much land that we have.
Yes, they have a little more, but it's not that they have much either. Like, you cannot compare, for example, Lynn with Netu.
No, absolutely not.
You know what I'm
Absolutely
saying?
Not. Yeah. Like looking at other North Shore cities, yes, but compared to, I don't know, Danvers, Lynn has a lot more land than Danvers. You know what I mean? And it definitely has more land than Salem. Okay. So it's good to see that they're looking at creative ways to use their public lands specifically for affordable housing. I'm here for all of it. I am here for all of it.
It was great also to see that the mayor in Lynn is not only working on creating more affordable or more housing opportunity for the residents, but also creating jobs. Something that he mentioned is, yes, we want the people to live here. We want the people to stay here. Well, we also need to create jobs for these people. And so they are also providing grants and resources to small business owners and corporations. They are providing resources to help these businesses, to help these small owners, right? And those corporations to work on their businesses. Okay, how can we help you? How can we make it easier for you to create job opportunities within your commercial
spaces?
Spaces, you know? So I think that is fantastic. He mentioned that the city of Lynn actually has one of the biggest education district outside of Boston. And he's just like, I want my students to stay here, to work here.
Yes. And he said it with such pride.
Yes.
Like, he was just like, there is no reason why they cannot come back to this community. You know what I mean? Like, let's create the pathways and the opportunities for those students. He was very, very proud of that. And that I was like, oh, look. And I didn't know that fact about the Lynn public school system. Like, I knew that it was a big school system. I didn't know that it was one of the largest outside of Boston, which was like, it took me back for a second. But then you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And so he was very adamant about wanting to keep those students in the city, and create job opportunities for those students in the city.
And now that it just came to my mind, he was also mentioned that they have created some outside like education for teenagers to go and learn a skill. I mean, I think that's fantastic.
Yes. And he mentioned not only to teenagers, but even opening it up to adults, right? So like evening classes for like trades and whatnot. I mean, it's just, yes, let's provide college alternatives. Let's provide alternatives. Let's provide, a society and a community that can thrive. And so I was just like, yes. I
it's amazing.
Enjoyed it. Yeah.
When we see a leader promoting education, promoting housing, promoting job stability. That's what we want to see in all communities.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So switching gears a little bit.
Yes.
Amesbury.
Amesbury.
Can I tell you she was one of my favorite speakers?
Yes.
First of all, she was the only one there. As far as a she, everybody was a he.
Oh.
And I love that. I loved that. Okay. I love that. She was very well spoken. Mayor Cassandra Gove. Okay.
And they are doing a lot over there.
Yo, she was like, I know that says stop, but I'm going to keep on talking. Okay. Poor Patrick was like, this is red. You're supposed to stop talking. And she was just like, listen, I got stuff to say. Okay. I loved her.
Yeah.
Loved her.
They have many new residential programs, like many new residential
like
projects.
Hundreds of units. I think there was one that's like 400 units.
That's what I think. Yes. Yes.
But Amesbury has land.
Yes.
Right? Amesbury has high taxes. That does, like disgustingly high taxes. They've been lower. They've been tracking down. She said that. I think that at one point they were like $18 and change per thousand, and now it's like 15, 16 and change per thousand. So they've been tracking down, which is great, but they're still like very high.
Right? However, what they are doing in Amesbury, like I was surprised by all the things they are doing. Again, a lot of new projects. They are working on creating a lot of type of projects, like mixed use, multifamilies. That's one of their biggest things is let's also create multifamilies. Let's not forget about multifamilies.
But not just like large multifamilies. She was also talking about small multifamilies.
Small multifamilies.
Right? They wanted to, she was adamant and very proud about creating little communities inside the communities where, we've talked about these 15-minute communities where you could walk somewhere to get your groceries, to go see the doctor. So like they have the space to do it. And she was very, very proud of being able to create these little like microcosms of communities inside of Amesbury while still maintaining a lot of their open land and character. So I don't think we're going to get to the point where we're going to see a ton of high rises in Amesbury, but with their openness to be able to have in that same area, flats for seniors and small condos and small multifamilies and, just being very smart about the space. She was one of my favorite speakers.
Yes, you have a fantastic mayor.
Yes.
One of the things that she was pointing out is that, which I love, by the way, because sometimes I think mayors focus, let me just work in this area and forget about the others. She was like, yes, we need to create more housing. Yes, we need to have more homes. However, we also need to invest in education.
Yes.
We also need to invest in health department because yes, if you are investing in more housing, that means that you're going to have more people, especially in Amesbury, where, again, you don't have the large population. There is a lot of open land, right? So she's saying, if we want more people moving here, we also need to invest in more education, in more health, so that when people come, we are able to provide
services. And commercial spaces also, more restaurants, more shops, more of that mixed use. It's that global idea, that globalization of having that 15-minute community where you can get everything that you need in under 15 minutes. That was clutch, absolute clutch. I loved her. Loved her. Great. She was phenomenal.
Another measure that is also doing a great job in their city is the measure in Gloucester, Berga. Mr. Berga. He is working in many projects with Harbor Lights for affordable housing, which is absolutely fantastic.
And Gloucester was one of the cities right after Salem that was making a lot of noise about the ADUs. I can't remember if they passed it. I think they did. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and check. But for a while, Gloucester has been really adamant about pushing forward affordable housing. Okay. And Gloucester has an aging population similar to Amesbury, right? Like the median age of the people that live there skews older. And so being able to create the affordable housing allows for that integration, right? Of having the old and the new and freeing up some space. I think he mentioned like 3 to 5 projects that Harborlight is working with at different spaces, at different stages of the process, right? In the city of Gloucester. And I love, as you guys know, I sit on the board for Harborlight. I'm a board member, and I think that's going to be the one board seat that they're going to have to pry out of my cold, dead hands. Because I love everything that Harborlight does. Harborlight doesn't just create housing. It creates and provides the wraparound services needed for that resident to thrive and to eventually come out of the affordable housing cycle, right? Which, going back to the mayor of Amesbury, it's the same global view, right? It's not just bringing people in and having them stuck here. It's how do we provide all of the services to help them flourish, kind of like Mayor Nicholson in Lynn, wanting his students to stay in the city to be able to receive jobs. So Harborlight does a really, really good job at being able to provide those wraparound services, and seeing Gloucester just like maximizing all of that. I'm like, yes, let's go.
And just like you mentioned, right? Gloucester has a big senior community, which, let's say, for example, the rental aspect. It's not easy, especially now, for many elderly people being able to rent at these prices. Why? Well, because they retire a long ago. Their retirement account hasn't increased. So what they have received is not a lot. And rent has increased and increased and increased and increased every year. But now you have an affordable housing project where this elderly person can move without having to move out of the city where they grew up. So I think that's fantastic.
Yes, it's phenomenal. Gloucester is doing a really, really good job at that. So kudos to you, Gloucester, for doing that, and keep it up. Absolutely.
Beverly, another measure that was present was Cahill. Yes, and Beverly, who's also doing a great job.
You know, Mayor Cahill is one of these mayors that you either love or you hate, right? As with like any mayor, right? As with any mayor. But his personality, I was here for all of it. He was just like, let's go. Vamos. A que vinimos. Like, he was just like, he was another one that Patrick's like, this is red. You're supposed to stop. And he's like, oh, I'm supposed to stop? I could keep going, you know? So he had a lot of energy, which I love because that's just me. Like, I feed off of it. But one thing that I remember distinctly about him is that he kept talking about infrastructure being important, roads being important, parking being important, you know, making sure that a sidewalk is actually walkable, you know, is very, very important. So for some reason that stood out to me a lot.
Another thing that he also mentioned was transportation. That's very important for him. He's in public transportation. He was like, yes, we have the train, like we have the privilege because there are other cities that don't have a train station. For example, Italy doesn't have a train station, right? So yes, we are very proud of that. However, we need to do more in regards to public transportation. And I agree 100% with that. He was saying specifically buses. We need to have buses in the city where you are able to actually move from one space to another, because yes, you have a train station, but depends on where you live, you probably are not going to be able to walk to the train station. So you need buses, you need public buses that will help you with that. So yes, we need housing, but we also need to invest in our public transportations, which will help with housing.
One thing I remember now when he was talking about the public transportation, I think I may have said it like under my breath. I was like, Salem has that because we have the Salem Skipper that brings you throughout the city at like $2 or like $1. It's something ridiculous. It's the amount, the cost
Actually,
is
it's in
ridiculous.
Beverly too.
Is it in Beverly?
Yeah.
Oh, so I take it back.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't think you had that.
So,
Oops, I take it back.
so let me tell you.
Oh man.
Yes. So I think it was this year or maybe last year, but I want to say it was this year, that Salem, Danvers, and Beverly, they combined forces, and the same skipper is doing.
Oh, so
cities.
Salem is lending their skipper. Okay, that's different. Okay, I take it back. Okay.
No.
Kudos to Salem. Okay.
Salem
We did the
started the
skipper.
project.
Yes. And then we saw the success and we let you Beverly people sit on the bus. Okay. I got it. Understood.
So it's now
Understood.
in all this, but it's great. It's
Yeah.
fantastic when you see different cities working together,
Yeah.
which some of them are doing in some lawn projects they mentioned. So that's good to see different cities coming together, uniting forces to be able to, better serve their community.
Yeah. We do have to get those Beverly bridges done though, because I am not looking forward to Kernwood Bridge being closed.
Man, listen, tell me about
what are we
it.
doing?
Yes, that's very
My
sad.
husband has to drive through Kernwood to get to the Cumming Center. And I low-key don't want to tell him that Kernwood is going to close down because I think he might just.
He is watching right now, so just don't say that.
Okay.
You were gonna.
I love you,
Just stop
husband.
right there.
I love you, husband.
Don't let him know how long it's actually gonna take.
It's gonna
for
be
the bridge
terrible,
to be-
terrible. So yeah, we gotta
Because
get
it's
those
gonna take
bridges.
a long time.
We gotta get those bridges in Beverly done faster than what's expected. Because no, I'm not here for that. I am not here for any of that.
We didn't talk about that though.
Yeah, they didn't talk about that. That's just my ad lib here. Peabody.
Yes.
Peabody, Mayor Christopher Ryder.
Well,
Okay.
actually, that's not the mayor.
Oh, that's right. That's chief of staff.
That's the staff.
You're right.
Yes, the mayor
Oops.
was not able to.
Oops. You're right.
Was not able to be present, but the staff was there.
Yeah, chief
Yes.
of staff was there.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yes.
They have a similar development department like Lynn does.
Yes.
Which helps a lot. And we've used them as realtors. Like we've called to ask about specific zoning questions, what can be done.
Oh, yeah.
Like when we're doing research for clients, what can be done in this particular neighborhood? Can I put a laundry mat here? Can I, put a multifamily here? Like
A
what's that
business,
process? Yeah. They've been super, super, super responsive. So that is really, really good. And it does cut down, like we said earlier, it cuts down on the timelines of a project happening. Okay.
Yeah. Another good thing about Peabody is that they are going to have a new high school.
Yes.
You are going to have a new high school.
Yes.
Yes. So that's fantastic. I think that will motivate other people to move to the city of Peabody. Not only because the low electricity that everybody already
Yo,
knows.
I'm jealous about that. How about we collaborate the same way that we're collaborating with the skipper? How about we collaborate with the electricity?
I mean, they already collaborate with Linfield.
With Linfield, so let's just keep going. Because these national grid bills are disgusting. It's an insult. Like,
So
they're
now,
just disrespectful at this point.
so now outside from electricity, I think that education will also attract more people into the city of Peabody because of the new high school,
Yeah.
which is already good. Like Peabody has a good education system, in my opinion.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm thinking now I need to send an email. I gotta send an email. We have to start. We gotta
Let's
start a
create our
petition.
own.
We gotta start a
plan.
petition. Yeah, for the electricity because this is it's just disrespectful what's happening with National Grid.
Anyways, another thing that they mentioned is they are working on new residential units. You will see some new residential units in downtown
Yes.
Peabody.
Where Brody's was.
Yes.
I was sad to see Brody's go away, and then he mentioned Brody's. So it's a little more higher end, and so it'll be like mixed use. So you have the commercial on the first floor, and some higher end residential above, or some market rate, I should say, above, which will be great for downtown.
Yes.
And I hope that Brody's comes back with the same name. Like I get it, I can't show up with my ripped jeans anymore, or like my tank top. I'll put on a blouse and I'll put on like non-ripped jeans. but I loved the food and the music at Brody's. I loved it. So I'm waiting for them to reopen again.
And he didn't mention this, but I pass by it every day, or not every day, but very often. And they have a sign outside that says they are looking for makeup artists or beauty salon. So
Yeah.
barbershop, like if you have that type of business, maybe a good idea to look into it because they are looking for some businesses for the first floor.
And right up the street, you have the Children's Museum, which
Yes.
I love. I mean, my kids are too old to go to the Children's Museum. So if you want to let me
Yes,
borrow
they
your
are.
kid, I will gladly take them
How
to
do
the
you-
Children's Museum.
What were you doing at the Children's Museum, by the way?
I was just looking to see what I could do with my niece and nephew.
Yeah, of course. Of course, that's what you were doing. Yes.
I was a little,
Yeah.
I had to
Let's-
leave because I was like an adult there without children. And I was like nerding out over stuff that they have. So I think I'm just going to steal my niece and nephew and I'm just going to bring them to the Children's Museum. I could care less what they do when they're there, but I just need to like be in there because it looks like a super, super fun place.
Another thing that I don't know if he actually mentioned this or if I saw it in another place, but the city of Peabody will also have new residential units in 128 Newbury
Street, yeah.
Newbury Street. And I think that one is like 100 and something units. It's on the high on the high price, but they will also have some affordable units. They will have 46 affordable units, 45 affordable units out of the 100 and something, which is fantastic too.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I remember, I just remembered this. Mayor Cahill also talked about making like an easier way to get to the Beverly Music Theater.
Yes, that is true.
Like create maybe a rotary or a roundabout to be able to connect like Dunham Road so that it's not so out of the way. And I'm like, yes, please. I could totally be like imagining that.
He mentioned this space. I don't remember exactly what he said that he was going to.
Something about connecting Dunham Road.
But
yeah. So there was a lot. That's what I remember from all the mayors. They were all phenomenal. We did have the mayor of Ipswich there. Ipswich is kind of like I don't want to say weird town because we are all very weird people in weird towns
it is not
collectively.
A weird town. Yeah, that's not the right word.
But Ipswich is in a position where, they're having a very difficult time conforming with the MBTA regulations, right? And so there's a lot of...
Can I just say that surprised me? Because, for example, you also see Amesbury, right? They don't have that difficulty.
Right.
You know, so that surprised me.
It's just the people that are living there, you know. And one thing that the Mayor Stephen Crane did say is that there is a lot of negative voices when you go to these public hearings.
Okay? I mean, but that's everywhere.
I get it. That is everywhere.
But for example, sorry that I'm interrupting you, but for example, Pangalo was saying the night before they were doing a public hearing.
3 hours.
Everything was negative.
Yeah.
There was not one person that stand up as a positive. So you will have negative, like you will have always negative opinion and you will also have some positive. But again, like I just didn't hear like facts that convince me as to why it's been so difficult, because it's been difficult for everybody, all the cities,
and other cities have been able to do it.
You know what I'm saying? Like all the cities.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. So those were the conversations that we had. You know, overall, really good conversations. We did, of course, talk to Mayor Pangalo about the transfer tax. Okay. He's not committed to anything. However, we let him know
We don't agree with it.
We don't agree with the transfer tax. And I shouldn't say that we don't agree. We provided alternatives.
Yes.
Okay, basically
Well,
what
we don't agree with what is being proposed
what is being
right now.
proposed. Correct. Yes, what is being proposed. Correct. We don't agree with it at all. So we provided our 2 cents of that. Yes, and then also we provided our 10 cents on the condo conversion ordinance. Okay, and so he's not committed to anything. But one thing that I love about Mayor Pangallo is that he always opens the door to his office. So, it's a simple, let's schedule some time to talk more about it, which, we are absolutely going to take him up on that conversation.
And
as everybody else should, whether you're in Salem and Lynn, like whatever, like go have a conversation with your elected officials. And it doesn't all have to be negative. My rule, and Genesis will confirm this or deny this, the answer is yes. But my rule is if you're going to poke holes into a problem, you need to offer a solution. It's not enough to just say, well, we don't like this or we think it's a bad idea. Cool. That's great. What's a solution? If you can't offer a solution, like.
Not only that, but I think it's also important, as Cynthia said, first, yes, go and speak with your leaders, go to the public hearings. I think is also very important. Whether you are opposed or you agree with it, I think it's important to go and ask questions. I want to say that also be open-minded. Just don't say no just because.
Right.
Oh, I say no because no. Okay, so ask questions. Are there things that worry you? Pull out your questions. Let's see what the city has to say, what alternatives of solutions they have. And it could be that probably you are seeing something that they haven't seen. So it's good that you ask those questions. On the other hand, if you agree with something, also say, why do you agree with it? Like, why do you think
they can't read our minds, guys? They can't read our minds. So like you have to spoon feed them the information. Also, they're not necessarily experts in the subject matter, right? So they are dependent on other experts to give them the information. So I don't have an iota of an idea to talk about offshore wind. I will be asking a lot of questions, a ton of questions about offshore wind and how does that work, right? But I have a lot of knowledge about housing. I have a lot of knowledge and experience about affordability, about advocacy, about wraparound services. So yes, I am going to share that knowledge because it's needed in our community. So if you just keep it to yourself and you're like, oh, they should have known, how they should have known people. Like,
I also say, show some grace to your leaders in the community, to your mayors, to the politicians in your community, whether they are from one political party or the other, because it's not easy to lead an entire population, okay? It's not easy.
Since biblical times, it's been difficult, okay?
Because you are managing an entire population where everyone has a different opinion. When there is a group that want one thing, the other one the other thing, and then here's the mayor trying to figure out, okay, what is best for the community?
Yeah, trying to thread the needle. So
show some grace. They are not your enemy. They are actually trying. Well, the majority of them.
If they're not, just vote them out. That's it.
They are trying to help the community better.
So overall, I left that panel very excited for what's happening in the city, not only in Salem, but in our neighboring communities, okay? Because it shows that our neighboring communities are also putting in their little granito de arena. They're putting in their little bit to be able to create housing as a region,
And the good thing is not only housing.
Jobs,
which are so much needed, right? It's education.
Yes. So it was a good panel. It was a very, very good panel. I think out of the association, this is one of the best advocacy events that we have seen in a very long time.
It was good.
Yeah, I mean, we say that every year. Last year we had the head of the housing in Massachusetts. So that was Augustus. Ed Augustus was there last year. So it was good. But we always have a great time. My friends, thank you so much. We are almost running out of topics to talk to you about. So you should probably leave a comment and let us know.
Yes. What do you want us to talk about?
Because we can ramble. And I'm sure you guys don't want to hear us rambling. So tell us. What do you want us to talk about? And we'll be more than happy to talk about that.
We'll see you next Tuesday at 7.
7 p.m. Bye.
Let's see. Oh no, this is too fancy for you.
Does it do end live? At the very top? Top
No, I don't see anything.
left, right?
I don't see it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I see.
Oh my goodness.
Let's just
Yeah.